Good morning and welcome to the 200th episode of Hobby Hotline. Very special edition today on Bench Clear Media, and we're celebrating with John Newman and Erica from Love What You Collect. And today's going to be a fantastic episode. We've got great topics in the news right now, and we've got giveaways for our episode. We've got crazy guys doing stuff in stores. We've got Aaron Judge's balls. Lots of great stuff to talk about. So, good morning, everybody. Erica, John, how are you guys today?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
I'm doing good. I guess a nice surprise for everyone. No one knew we were going to talk about Aaron Judge's balls today, but now the cat's out of the bag. So there you go.
So, John, you're all bundled up. You did something fun this morning. That is what a true collector does, without too many details. Because a lot of people don't know that a
Yeah,
lot of minor league teams do this. What did you do?
yeah. I'll make it quick. So I'm in Syracuse now, and we have the Syracuse Mets, which is obviously the AAA team of the Mets. And every year, they have a garage sale. It's about this time of year, and they just sell a lot of game used equipment that just kind of like clean out the old and then replace stuff. So they have autographed jerseys, unsigned game used jerseys, game used hats, a lot of game used stuff and that sort of thing. I go every year. Some years are more fruitful than others, and this year really I didn't get a ton of stuff, but I did get a clubhouse Syracuse Mets chair, and it's actually above me. I don't know if you see it right here. It's not going to be. Is Jose Budo's locker room name tag. So, and a lot of stuff it doesn't cost a ton of money. They do a great job, with pricing and draw a pretty big crowd every year. Like it opens at 9, and there's people usually lined up. So it's sort of an annual tradition for me. So those were the two items. So I usually grab more, but a little different this year. It seemed like they have a little less stuff, but I guess it depends on the year. So
Erica, what have you done to love the hobby this week?
I visited my local card shop. They moved to a new location. They're called Wheelhouse Cards.
How far away?
It's
They
about
moved.
20 minutes outside of Philly. It's a
Okay.
terrific location. The owners there are awesome. The shop is awesome. It's great, and I love the engagement they have with the youth in the area.
And is that West Philadelphia?
It's on the main line in Wayne. So it's
Okay.
about twenty minutes from West Philly. It's a great location as far as the area because you can hit Delaware, Jersey, the burbs in the city
How
fairly
many card
easily.
shops do you have near you?
Great question. Three off the top of my head. Yeah,
Okay.
three off the top of my head. I visit Wheelhouse 95% of the time, and I visit another one 5% of the time.
So, when you went to the hobby shop, did they have any $3 million baseballs?
No, they didn't.
Okay. So let's talk about the one that might be a $3 million baseball. Uh, Aaron Judge, his home run. The guy who caught it was offered $3 million. He turned it down. John, talk to me. What's going on? Is this pure madness?
I'd be selling my balls for $3 million. That's all I'm going to
I
say.
would I would sell yours for two.
Yeah. Uh, well, we know, there's the other part of the story. Supposedly, Golden Auctions guaranteed him that more than that. So, but how much more than that? Like, if someone offers you $3 million, like, how much more do we think this ball is honestly going to bring? Like, I don't know. Like, it's whatever you think of Barry Bonds, and I don't like the fact that he used steroids, and I still look at like Hank Aaron as the real home run king and all that jazz. But I mean, the record 73. You know what I mean? At least in the record books, whether you like that or not. So this is the American League record, right? I guess people are saying if you don't recognize what Bonds did that year, then in a sense, this is the record holding ball. So I mean, there's so many tentacles to this. Um, I just don't see it as a $3 million piece of memorabilia. To be honest, even even in the best case scenario, hey, this is the true, you know, clean home run season record ball. It's still a lot of money, $3 million,
Yeah.
and somebody, some rich person's gonna buy it, but we just don't know for how much. And Golden is apparently guaranteeing this gentleman $3 million in the minimum. So it's an interesting. Then there's a part two to that, right? What are they going to pony up the difference if it goes in the Golden auction and brings 2,200,000? Are they gonna take an $800,000 loss? And I don't even think it's a good play by Golden to guarantee
Well,
$3 million
that was
because
going to be my point. Yeah. I mean, Erica, I mean, if you're bidding on something and the auction house has already guaranteed a price, do you feel comfortable with that?
No, I don't feel comfortable with that at all. This whole ball situation is very interesting to me. I don't understand why he didn't take that offer of 3 mil, because I don't think it will go over it in auction unless it's manipulated in some way. Um, but I would have just took the 3 million if I were going to sell it to someone I didn't know. But me personally, I would have loved for that ball to go back to Aaron himself if he that was something he wanted. I would love to have worked out something with him that's a win-win. That would have been my first option. But second option, I would have took the 3 million offer.
I mean, I guess it says something when Aaron Judge won't even pay the 3 million. So maybe we should
Bingo.
consider that. Uh,
Yeah.
John, let me ask you: is the New York market part of the reason there's an attractiveness? And if Aaron Judge signs, let's say, with San Francisco, does the New York person who buys that ball feel a different connection?
it's a great point. Listen, everything Yankees, right? And I'm not a Yankee fan anymore in my life, but anything Yankees, right? There's always seems to be a premium surrounding that, whether it be cards or players or memorabilia. So if he leaves and like goes to the Mets, let's say, um, or the Giants, as you mentioned, I don't think that really changes the equation on the ball. It's still historic in its own way for the American League record, right? So I don't think the ball doesn't change the significance of the ball. He still did it as a Yankee in a Yankee uniform. Um, and even if he left the Yankees, he's still part of Yankees lore, right? He's still going to be, there'll be probably some real diehard Yankee fans that will poke holes in his jersey or start a little fire pit and throw his jersey on there for leaving. But I think there'll be others that will say, hey, he's a California kid, maybe wanted to go home, got more money than the Yankees have made an offer to him.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone else makes them a bigger offer, right? That's what players tend to do is they're looking at their livelihood and taking the money while he can. And this is probably going to be wherever he goes, whether he stays in New York or goes somewhere else. This is probably going to be his big contract of his career. So as far as if he leaves, though, to answer your kind of come full circle, I don't think it changes the significance of the ball, but I also don't think that ball is worth $3 million. So
Well, I
there you
guess
go.
that's the real problem I have with it is if they've already turned down 3 million and they know they have in the hand, is that really an auction at this point, or is it just who's going to beat 3 million by the most?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that even if Golden made that, and I don't know, we're
And the
we're
and
we're
the
talking
comment
about
here is a good
speculation.
point, by the way.
Yeah, but now, like, if I'm a rich guy and I know, like, I don't want to pay more than $3 million for that ball, then I'm not even like following that auction anymore.
Yeah.
So, as I lose my earpiece, but
Well, Todd
so
McFarland bought
that
the
will
McGuire ball
take
for
some people
24 million.
right out of their interest right out of it, Erica and Dan. To me, I think like even if that is true, like that should have been kept on the down low to the owner of the ball. I don't. You know, yeah, it's publicity, but is Golden like short of publicity? Like, do they really need anymore? Why they're going to get publicity just advertising that, hey, we have the Judge 62 home run ball, right? Why do you have
Mhm.
to put out there like we're going to guarantee 3 million if that's what has actually happened? So I think it's a bad play by them. I think you've eliminate some people who are now priced out. Like I can't win this now. I'm not going that high. So um, I'm sure they did it. Right? Obviously, the reason why they did it, right, is they want the this gentleman to consign it to their auction. But you can do that and not make it public knowledge for everyone to know. That those deals, those kind of agreements happen all the time on other items. Where hey, whatever the case may be, we'll guarantee you $1 million for
E-
this. It's gonna
Eric,
it's gonna bring more than that, but we'll guarantee that.
Erica, Todd McFarlane had spent 3.1 million on the
Yes.
McGuire ball. What are the chances that Golden just wants to break that number for?
I
Yeah,
I read that article on that this morning. Um, I think that's their goal. I think that they possibly will reach that goal. Um, but they also said the ball is worth way less than what they paid for it. So I thought
well,
that was
yeah,
interesting.
McGuire, I think, lost a little popularity.
Yeah. So, um, I, I don't know. It's very interesting. It's just a big game in my opinion. Because you can't really put a really true valuation on something like that.
So if you caught the ball, you would have taken the $3 million offer and just be
If
done.
I caught the ball, I would have figured out a way to see if Aaron, if he wanted it, I would have figured out if he wanted it and worked something out with him directly, even if it was less. But if he didn't, I would have just took that 3 million offer and.
How long would it take you to paint a picture of it?
I'll probably be doing that week.
Yeah, I think
I
that's a picture that stays in the PC.
Yes,
I gotta
absolutely.
put Erica on the hot seat. Like I give her credit. Like she wants to get it back to Aaron Judge. She feels like it's deserved. So what would, like you said, like to work out a deal? Like do
Yes.
you have do you have a number in your mind? Like
Um, I,
hypothetically?
honestly, I don't have a number in my mind, but I would see what he would be comfortable with. Because I think things like that, I just have a hard time with I do like athletes that I support and follow. Like I love giving them their cards and stuff like that, like gifting it to them. I just have a hard time having them like trying to take money for it from something that's them and that they earned. So I would leave the ball in his court in terms of what he will offer, feel comfortable with, and then just figure it out. Because at the
Well,
end of the at,
if you do that, you're getting a signed bat and a signed jersey. And
yeah, of course, yeah, and maybe I would definitely would love for to do something with him, to help the youth. Some type of initiatives with that. Um, you know, because things can't always be about money, and is way more important than that.
Yep.
yeah, it's
And the
a
other thing,
great point by Spurs Car 20. The gentleman that caught the ball, is I mean, obviously I don't have his bank statements, but he is a vice president of like a financial firm, so you got to assume he's probably doing okay. So I don't think he's worried about like being behind in his mortgage right now, and I got to quickly move this ball. And he makes a great point, right? Golden also thought that LeBron logo man was going to bring more money than it actually did. And listen, I don't fault Golden Company for wanting the item. I mean, that's a great thing to head your auction off with, a great thing to highlight and talk about. But I don't think they needed to put this through. I think they hurt themselves if that $3 million story is true. I think they really. I think there's some people who wanted the ball and just say, "Listen, to me, it's not worth that. I'm not even gonna like enter this auction because I already know I'm not paying that. Why? Why? I'll be curious to see what it goes for, but I'm not going to be a bidder." So I think you've eliminated. I mean, it's obviously a small percentage of people that can even buy that in the first place, and then I think by doing that guarantee, you've even eliminated another smaller percentage of that smaller percent. So I don't think you had to do that. Or if you're going to do that, do it behind the scenes on the down low. And maybe they did. Maybe it's again, I don't know all the detail. Maybe it was core humans that said, "Hey, I'm going to get at least $3 million. It's going to Golden. Thanks, Gold." Might be one of those where they told him like not to say anything, and he didn't sort of follow directions. But yeah, you see a lot of the comments. I would take the money. Think about that, right? You bought maybe a ticket for $100 to that game, and you catch this ball. You're the guy or the woman. In this case, a guy. $3 million for $100. If you want to call it an investment, of purchasing $100 ticket. Or whatever. I mean, obviously, the ticket was well less than $3 million. So the moral of the story is the core humans is gonna make out just fine, no matter what. Even if the ball sells for $1.3 million, right? He didn't pay $1.3 million to get in. What's it
Yeah,
called?
when
Globe
I take my
Globe
family to the
Park.
game,
Yeah,
I typically lose money. I don't make over $1 million, so it's
yeah,
like John. It's a pretty good return, John. I think you're right.
yeah.
Couple comments here. Do these historic game balls retain their value long term? Short answer is the modern ones have not for a variety of reasons. However, we were talking about this earlier. I love the historic baseballs. When you get back to Ruth and Cobb and some of the greats or Jackie, it was to me that's totally different. So I would take any of those first. Take the money and run. Mad City Brew. Agree, Erica. Work out a deal with Judge and have your name mentioned in the Hall of Fame. That would be quite a deal. If you can
Yeah.
get your name in the Hall of Fame, nah, I'd still take the 3 million. Um, okay, so one of the things I did want to let John talk about today a little bit is the special giveaways for our 200th before we get too far into the episode. Uh,
Yeah, yep. Let's do that because I don't want to like keep beating people over the head with it, but
yep.
we want to get it out there. So first thing, I let me pull it up here. We're going to cover our. This is from sports card shop at Moco Rex, and the guys there are graciously, they're big supporters of Hobby Hotline, so they're going to give away a 2022 Donruss Elite Hobby Box, as you can see on the screen. Two autographs and one memorabilia card. For this prize, and I want to follow at the sports card shop on Twitter, and then I'm going to ask Rex if you're already following them. I don't want to like make you ineligible. You're nice enough and gracious enough to already follow them. Send him a DM and say, hey, listen, I was already following you, but I want to be entered into the Donruss Elite football box, and I'm gonna let him pick a winner, and then he'll ship that off. So there's that. So follow at underscore sports card shop if you're not already. If you are already, send him a quick DM and just let him know, hey, I'm already following you guys, but can I be entered? And I'll let him pick the winner. And then we have you've donated a prize as well, Danny. So let me put that up there. You're going with the 2021-22 Premier League Soccer Prism box with the orange mojos in that. For that, we need to build up our Instagram following. So if you can follow us at Hobby Hotline, you see it scrolling on the bottom of the screen on Instagram. We're going to pick a new follower. Same deal. If you're already following us on IG, you shouldn't be penalized for that. Send a DM saying, "Hey, listen, I was already following you. Can I be entered?" And we'll pick a winner from those quick messages and new followers there. And two more, and then we'll get back to the show. So SGC, we're going to give away two free grading subs to SGC. Same thing. Follow. We'll make it simple. Follow Hobby Hotline on IG. Scrolling on the bottom there. Again, if you're already following, message us that you're already following, but you still want to be entered. And one more prize, and this is from my own stuff. we'll call it a mystery bubble mailer, but I get to review some boxes from the company's Tops Upper Deck Panini, and generally when I review those, I keep the hits separate to use for giveaways for people, and so I'll put a mystery bubble mailer together with some of those pulls and send it to one lucky person as well. Again, same deal. Follow Hobby Hotline on Instagram. And again, if you're following, just send a quick note to us that you want to be entered. So there's going to be four prizes. We'll let Rex do the one. Follow Sports Card Shop at Moco, and then the other three we'll do via Hobby Hotline. So there are going to be different winners. That we'll say that too. No duplicate winners. So four different people going to take down one of these prizes. So there you go.
And
Okay.
Brody, you are not eligible.
Yeah, employees that don't get paid of Hobby Hotline are ineligible, as they
Right.
say.
Good morning, Mark. Well, John, thank you. And this is all just a reminder in honor of this is Hobby Hotline's 200th episode. So we are celebrating a little bit with the holiday season as well. Um,
And, and
yeah.
just real quick, just one warning. I'll do that. I'll do it quicker, but I'll do it one more time towards the end, just for people who maybe have come and joined a little bit later. So, but I'm not going to do it every 10 minutes. So you're safe from that.
Okay. So that's awesome. So get it in, John. You got to monitor the IG. That we're going to put you on that for now.
Yep,
Um,
that's fine.
so you can. We'll let John pick a winner. Uh, at the end of the show, we will do it live, right, John?
No, I'm not going to do it live because you got to give
Okay.
people time.
Then you'll get in
Just
touch with them. You'll DM
yeah,
them.
yeah. Well, we'll give it like 3 or 4 days because this is on Bench Clear, and then we'll put this up on our YouTube on Tuesday. So probably Wednesday. We'll probably do it
So look for a
Wednesday.
DM then later in the week.
Yeah, and I'll post it publicly who the winners were. So
Okay. So recently, we were at the National in July, and there was a panel, and we were on the panel. John, cousin Tony, cousin Oz, myself, and right as we're finishing, in the background, we start hearing all this screaming and cheering, and it got loud, and we were kind of wondering what all the noise is, and it's going crazy, and it was the Whatnot booth. And I think we were a little bit get off the lawn type of attitudes, and the last couple months I've heard more and more people talk about it. So I decided to go ahead and just try it out and see what it's about, because I knew next to nothing about it, and I've been getting a lot of questions. So before I share my experiences, Erica, are you a user of Whatnot at all?
I was a user of Whatnot for a period of time.
Yeah, and
Um,
John, you've never really been on, right?
no, I'm not. I'm not a huge fan. But again, I'm knocking it before I've tried it too. So uh, keep that in mind. So um, I mean, listen, they're doing very well. I mean, you saw they had like a whole row at Atlantic City, right? Where they had that carnival sort of theme going on. The horse racing game, the kind of the ticket counter. They were actually quieter at the National than they were the one. One time we were in Dallas, actually doing a Hobby Hotline live, and we were trying to do it near them, and they were just ringing cowbells and yelling and screaming, and that really we sort of preempted the show just because people couldn't hear us. So when I think of Whatnot, that's one of my first memories. But listen, people are doing very well, selling, breaking, and doing all sorts of different things. On the kudos to them for and listen, there's no shortages of selling platforms in the hobby, and some of them that are around right now are not going to be around in a year or two. And so if you're doing well and you're successful, you got to tip your cap to them. And so it may not, and I'm not ruling out maybe at some point getting involved with them and maybe selling some stuff. like last week with your debut. I just haven't yet, and but you never say never. But I mean, you made your debut last week, Danny. I mean, you can speak to it more than probably me and Erica can. Well, what were your thoughts on your debut?
Well, first of all, it was absolutely an interesting experience. And thanks to shout out to Mama Break Stephanie, who gave me some tips. She's very successful on there. And basically, the best way to describe it, it's like going to a shopping mall. And there's hundreds of stores. You can choose what store to go into. Some of them are going to be breakers. Some of them are going to be singles. Some of them are not even sports. And I just wanted to show kind of this is like if you click on baseball and you go in, you can see all these stores and what time they open, if they're going to be on today and stuff like that. And that's really kind of what you're doing. So I had my store. You get to set your own hours, do what you want, but you have to build up that base and the customers that know you just like a retail store. So I thought it was a very interesting platform. I don't do breaks, but when I talk to the people at Whatnot, I was told flat out they are moving away from breaks as far as new people they're trying to bring on, and they're trying to bring on more singles, more vintage, more baseball, maybe some less NFL and basketball. So, if you're not a breaker, there is still stuff there. But it was good to try out. I think I might try it out again. Um, it's definitely something that's worth looking at if you've never done before. You can, it's free to sign up, and you just browse like going to the mall. You don't have to buy anything. But I was able to interact with customers who came in. They were asking for specific cards or specific types of cards, and I could pull it out of my collection and show them. So it was interesting. For full disclosure, I made not one sale. So that was my first experience, and hopefully I'll build it up more. But at one point, I did. I was in there for an hour. At one point, there was like 10 people in the store and getting questions. So I thought it was an interesting experience. If you guys haven't tried it or only know them for when they first came in with the breakers and the loud noise, um, I think they're coming around. I think they're changing a little bit. So I just wanted to share that because a lot of people have been asking. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that. I mean, one of my things, and I know Brody's put some comments in there that there's been some complaints. One of my big things is, and I know it's sort of in the rearview mirror now, but it still happened, right? Backyard break, some of their antics, and they're on. That's their home base. I like to see Whatnot vet that stuff more, right? Screen that stuff more. Hey, this is our brand. This doesn't represent us well. Make that right or find somewhere else to do business. I like to see them a little more. We don't like always two hands on it, but a little more involved with who's representing, who's on their platform, and trying to weed that stuff out or make it right and fix those ills. So that's one thing. I joke about the Dallas incident, but that's the other thing I think about with Whatnot is just some of those bad stories you hear and what platform did they occur on Whatnot. So I like. It sounds like you said that that's something that they're starting to, their ears have perked up to that, and they're starting to get a little bit more involved. And if they're going to be around a long time, I mean, they're going to have to do that because there's a lot of selling platforms. There's a lot of competition for that business. And if you get a reputation for being sort of the seedy, the shady side of the city, that usually comes back and bites you. So we'll see. Again, I'm gonna check it out. Like probably the next one you do, Danny. I meant to actually check that one out, but I was actually recording an interview at the same time. So the next one you do, as long as I'm not doing nothing, I'll check it out.
Erica, did you hear
Yeah,
him big time? Did you hear him big time me on that?
I know.
Well,
I'll make
listen,
sure
I'm
to
not.
check
If
out
it
your
works, if it
show.
works into his schedule, if he's free, if he's awake, if there's nothing good on TV, and he has insomnia, he'll watch my next show.
Well,
So,
gee,
Yeah.
let me
in
ask.
my
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead, go ahead. No,
I
go
was going to
ahead.
ask Erica in general. Are there any shopping platforms that you feel comfortable on that you do shop online, or do you shop in person only?
Well, of course, eBay. Um, eBay is the number one source. Um, other than that, Facebook, like I have a Facebook group that I feel comfortable with, but we built like a community of friendships. So that's one. But the whatnot platform, I just I was it was a time that I would be on it every day. I had fulfillment of it, like I felt happy and stuff, but then that sizzled off, and I started to get frustrated, angry, sad. Um, you know, I would just like I didn't like the experience of it, but I will say though, is like you said, it's like a mall. Some stores you really love, and some stores is just like ah. So that like if you have a show, I will re-download the app and pop in and support. But in general, I'm not going to just go in and then randomly find a shop because it's been times when I've received the cards. I'm like, hey, this card didn't look like that. But at the same time, I had to tell myself I can't really see the card on the screen anyway. Like, how can I really analyze? And then it's happening so fast, and a lot of times you're paying um over comps or over what that card is valued at because you're involved with the game of trying to win. And those live platforms is just um gambling in my opinion. And I didn't like that, and I was just like I don't know, maybe in the future if things change, if they change the format of it, I would consider, but right now I don't like it. I'd rather go to a card show, card shop, or eBay.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious. Brody put on here that he trusts Loop. So in the comments, I'd be curious for anybody, or if you want to jump on I'll put the link on. What platforms are you buying on these newer platforms? Because
Hmm.
it's hard for us to try them all and experience them all, and that's why I tried Whatnot. But I'd be curious from anybody out there, what are they trying and what are they using? Um,
Yeah.
yes, Mad City Brew. Yes, I appreciate you coming and not.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be quick and answer that question. eBay. I use eBay obviously to buy and sell, but I like my slabs for graded cards to buy and sell both. So I use that a lot. ComC a little bit. Sport lots for your kind of when I get a lot of commons, I'll list them on there for set collectors to pick off from me and fill their sets. So but that's it. But anytime, and like Erica said, I mean, what's the best way to buy a card, right? Yeah, in person, right? Is nothing. You get to look at the card yourself, have it in your hand, determine whether you want to purchase it, and then you can, if you're want to negotiate the price, you can do it right. And there's something about negotiating in person than to make an offer, behind a computer or phone screen on eBay. I think it's harder. Not that you can't say no, but I think it's harder for a dealer to say no when someone's in front of them with cold hard cash. And so, I use the national every year now, Danny, to pick off like one or two bigger, if you will, cards in person rather than take the chance and buying them online. And how many times we hear about stuff going lost in the mail or a FedEx guy, stealing it basically or not delivering it. And so I think that in person transaction obviously eliminates that. You can't make every transaction in person. I understand that. But I think it takes the factor off the board, those in person type of sales. So I mentioned the national, but like I said, any card show you can obviously do those in person deals at.
And I think, yeah,
Yes,
Brody
I,
checked
I
in.
totally, yeah, I
Yeah, go ahead,
totally
Erica.
agree. I just wanted to say is like, how you can order ice cream online? It's nothing like going to the ice cream shop and buying it. After you buy it, you eat it, you look at whatever. Versus online, when you get it in the mail, you still got to put it in the freezer. You got to set up. Oh, I'm gonna eat it while I'm watching Netflix. No, it's not the same experience. It's always better in person, in my opinion.
Yeah,
It's funny. It's funny. Erica mentions that because it reminds. So I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, and like I'm going to be biased here, but Brooklyn pizza, the bagels, Bialy. Some people are like, "What the heck is a Bialy, John?"
oh,
A Bialy is
I'm a third generation Bialy maker, John.
yeah. All right. So but for those that don't know, the best way I describe it, Danny, is if a bagel and an English muffin had a baby, that's what a Bialy is. And Brooklyn Bialys and bagels are like to die for. And so there's a place in Brooklyn that FedExes them and mails them. And so I order them sometimes because if I'm not going back to Brooklyn anytime soon and I have a craving for that stuff, and I'll bring it to coworkers. Hey, you got to try this, and I'm a sharer and all that. So, but you're right. It's not exactly like being there and because it's been shipped and you put it in like Erica says, you put it in your fridge, and then all that kind of changes the dynamics of it. But it's still nice to be able to still get the stuff. So
I think
That's
that's the
true.
first time I almost fell out of my chair. Um, we will have a separate discussion at another time on a bialy being a cross between an English muffin and a bagel. Um, that that is
I love them.
you
Now I
throw me
want
off for the
some.
rest of the show.
I don't even want to do the show
That
anymore.
doesn't even okay. So that doesn't count the onion, the poppy, the sesame, which are not accounted for. Okay, and they're cooked different. There's more water in the dough. We need to move on. Okay, so we have Buenos Dias, all the way from Juarez, Mexico. Thank you.
Buenos dias.
Yes, I
Yeah,
love.
look at that. That is cool. Yeah, and I know he liked some of the posts that we posted. So thanks, Antonio. Very cool.
All right, I
Yes.
think we have an ice cream fan. Give me a tub of Ben and Jerry's Hershey's chocolate fudge brownie. Yes, this is. These are our other favorite hobbies. It's Hobby Hotline. We don't have to stick to cards. We're ice cream lovers too. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about, and John, I think you have a picture of this, is we had a guy that had a disagreement, I think, on comps. Um, and so, like a lot of us do, you go to your store and you hope to sell cards,
Here we
and
go.
and yeah, so this was the result. Um, and John said, "There's." I mean, I don't even know what to say.
Look at this picture. Like they sent in the SWAT team here, guys. I mean, look. I mean, there's 5 officers just in the picture frame itself. I don't know if there's more there too, but even just the 5. I mean, what was this guy? What kind of ruckus did this guy
Yeah.
cause? That like did the first 2 officers arrive and then they called for like backup? Like I don't know. Did they have to stun gun him? Like, we don't know all the details other than he was PO'd. That Nick's card store did not buy his cards for what he wanted to what he wanted to get for him. And there's a rumor. I
Welcome
don't
to the
know if
hobby,
it's
buddy.
yeah. There's a rumor, Danny, that he had a 90 Fleer Uribe that's worth $900,000, and that Nick's only offered $2,000, and he was insulted
Oh.
by that, and calamity ensued, and then the SWAT team obviously had to be called in. But obviously, I'm kidding. But I mean, it is really it's funny. As a dealer who sets up at shows, there's nothing on that level, right? But you might offer someone something and they don't they don't like the offer, and that's a two-way street too. You ask them, hey, what do you got to get for this, and they're too high. But to I don't know, I'm assuming with 5 officers, he did some damage, whether that's breaking a showcase, throwing something, maybe refusing to leave the store. um just not a way to behave on someone else's property, and
I assumed
you
it
know,
was a Panini redemption problem.
Panini
yeah.
redemption.
Well, that happens in their lobby, not at Nick's Sports Cards. So
Yeah. Well,
That's hilarious.
there's probably some show promoter that had a problem and called five
And
security.
I wanted to add to that. I think when I saw this story occur, it just reminded me of the outside's perception of the hobby as either you know selling big cards, junk wax, or even a lot of the news of hobby break-ins at stores. So like some outside looking in, they're just thinking about those main topics that circulate. So that doesn't surprise me. Maybe some law enforcement, they say, hey, we got to keep an eye out for, these sports card shops are opening more, and we have to make sure we just are there for, you know what I mean? So I think it's a bigger picture with this whole story. But like you said, we don't have a full story what happened there. I was, I don't know, but just the picture looks crazy. The picture looks
I
crazy,
mean,
and
uh, we,
yeah,
we were saying this
I'm gonna
before.
put it back up.
I'm sure it was a panic button.
yeah, it looks
Yeah, put
crazy.
that back up, John, because
I don't
that
know
looks
what to
like a
make of it.
panic button. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't think there's a special baseball card squad. I mean, I think that's probably just the response to an alarm. And the question is,
yeah,
what caused the alarm to go off? What was
yeah,
he doing?
yeah. That's true. That's true.
So,
Yeah,
uh,
Yeah, I don't
and
know.
also too, yeah, also too.
I
I was
guess
just
the
on a side
lesson
note, like,
is.
yeah,
Go ahead, Eric. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just on a side note. It's just like I know perceptions is a thing that we got to take in consideration. Like I live in a big city, and something like that happens, a cop probably won't come, or if so, maybe one or two, and they won't look like that. But if you live in different areas, you'll get something like that. So just the you get the big picture thing.
well said. Um,
I I gotta guess one of the things Danny, I don't know, if as a dealer that sets up at shows and someone will say, hey, you're buying, and I'll say, yeah, take a look at what you got. You pick out a card or two or more, whatever. And then you start to negotiate, hey, what do you got to get for these? The phones come out, right? Comps. And well, it's comped at 200. Okay, well, what do you need to get? Well, I'd like to get 200. And you try to explain to them, okay, but if I buy it for 200 and I put it in my showcase, what am I pricing it at? We'll put
exactly.
Yeah,
250 on it. Okay, so I put 250 on it. The next guy or lady comes along that's interested in the card. What are they going to do? They're going to pull out their phone and see the comps at around 200, and they're going to say, hey, you're over comps. Like, what can you do on this? So there's a lot of stuff. I don't want to say a lot, but that's a common thing that happens. So who knows? Maybe something like that happens where he sort of, we almost think of cards like as gold and silver spot prices, right? Silver's $22 an ounce. I can go to the pawn shop. He's going to give me $22 for every ounce I have. Gold is $1,600 an ounce. I'm going to go to the gold shop, and that's what they're going to pay, or pretty close to it. And that's not how cards. That's when people do that with cards, that's not how that industry works. And so maybe it was something as simple as that, as he kind of wanted what comps was, and maybe the owner or the general manager of Nick says, hey, that's not how, we can't do that. How are we gonna? And who knows what happened from there? I'd love to know like what he actually did.
I
Just
think
the
we're
curiosity. Did he break
yeah,
something? Did he throw something? Did he grab somebody? Like there's all sorts of, like, you could write your own script here about what he actually did, but I'd like to know the actual event, like just because that seemed to be a pretty heavy police presence for just like, hey, we got to ask you to leave. You're being in, disorderly. So, but again, they do everything bigger in Texas, Eric and Dan. So maybe that's what it even boils down to. So.
well. I also, and you were talking about script. Real quick, I just want to acknowledge the fact that there was a big movie on the hobby that came out. Just I know John interviewed the directors, right, John?
Yeah, Chris Fitzgerald was yesterday's guest on Sports Card Nation. The movie's Behind the Card came out yesterday. I don't know how we timed that up, but it's almost like we did it on purpose. Wink, wink. But I got to screen the movie about 2 to 3 weeks ago before its release. Um, we don't have a lot of hobby movies. There's been a couple. I guess if you want to count YouTube content, we have a lot of hobby movies. But this one is a full feature release. It's in some theaters, and you can order it online. And I thought it was well done. It was filmed during the crescendo of the hobby and during COVID. So you got to keep in mind that it's being released a year after it was wrapped up. So keep that timeline in mind. I thought Chris, and like I said during the interview itself, I thought Chris did a good job of covering. It's a 96-minute film, so an hour and 36 minutes. I thought Chris did a good job of covering a lot of ground in 96 minutes. Now, if you see who's in it, I know it causes some people to groan. You got everyone's favorite Vegas Dave. You got Jeff Wilson. Um, but there's a lot more people in there. Steve Aoki's in there. There's about 16 people that you could call cast, and then you have some obscure, like real quick interviews on the street and type thing. Let's put it this way. It's like I said on my show. I watched it late at night when I was sort of winding down. I didn't fall asleep. I didn't look at the clock to say, "Hey, how long has this been?" Had that's always an earmark for me that I don't enjoy something I'm watching. I keep watching how long I've been watching this, or how much time is left in it. And I didn't do either of those two things. So it was definitely interesting, entertaining. If you've been in the hobby a long time, there's nothing earth shattering that you probably don't know about. But it was just interesting to hear some of the dynamics, and Vegas Dave poops on uh, poops on vintage, which I that's like sacrilegious to me. And then you have the other side of the coin. You got Rob Go, the buyer of the $5.2 million Manors, telling why he loves vintage more than modern. And so you got all these, like, different sides of the aisle sort of weighing in. I will say this: I'm not a fan of Vegas Dave, as many are not. And I'm not saying I like him any better, but I did learn some stuff about him that sort of changes, that I didn't realize about him. He promoted his a show on his own at 14 years old. There's parallels for me. I did my first show at 15 years old. So like connections like that. I'm not saying I'm Vegas Dave, and I don't want to be Vegas Dave, but you learn some stuff about people. Like, you think you know people because what they post on social media, or what they say, but I think the movie did a kind of delved a little deeper, and you feel like you got to know them in a little different sort of way. So that was a plus. And the 96 minutes didn't feel like 96 minutes. It was entertaining. I think it was very well done, and produced very well. And you hear they had producers that worked on like feature films, like the Bourne series, and all that. So this wasn't, you know, people would just grab the camera and just say, like, wasn't the Blair Witch Project. Not that that was a terrible movie, but you know what I mean. It was production value there. And if someone said, "Hey, is it worth watching?" I mean, you asked me, Danny, is it worth watching? Right, off the record, I could have, I said, "Yeah, I think it is." So, um,
and I
you
watched
know,
it, and to give my 2 cents on it, they covered all parts of the hobby. I think the best they could. I know a lot of people in the comments are talking about some of the things that people do. They touch on repacks, they touch on scammers, but they also touch on the positives very strongly. They talk about the passion at high end. Also, just because people buy expensive cars doesn't mean they're not passionate. They do talk to local shop owners. Joe Davis from GotBaseballCards.com. So listen, the movie's not perfect. I don't think anybody in the hobby would ever agree on one movie, because we can't agree on
yeah.
anything else anyway. So, but I thought it was very well done. I thought it flew by.
Yep, and not to be a salesman or a shameless plug, one of the questions I asked Chris was, there's certain people we didn't see, and were there people, and he explained it. Listen to his, but basically, COVID threw a little monkey wrench into how they could meet with people. Also, this is a full feature film, so people had to sign like NDAs, and I had to sign that to screen the film. So a lot of people didn't want to sign certain things. Like, there's a lot of logistics. It's not just turn the camera on. Hey, what are you doing? Who are you? What do you think of this? It's more to it than that. So they even tried to get some other people, and it just logistics wise, they just couldn't get everyone on there. So But I think they did a good job. I don't think anyone was like too much screen time. I thought they tried to balance it out as best they could the way it was filmed. So
Yep. All right, John, I want you to touch one more time on the giveaway before we forget.
yep. All right. I'll make this quicker than when we did it in the beginning. So, Rex from the Sports Card Shop at Moco is giving away a hobby box of Donruss Elite Football. As you see there, 2 autos, 1 mem. Follow them on Twitter at underscore Sports Card Shop. If you're already following them and you want to be entered in the giveaway, send them a DM via Twitter and say, "Hey, I'm already following you, but can I be entered into the giveaway?" They'll take those DMs and all the new followers, and they'll randomize that, I imagine, and pick a winner for that box. Danny's box, 2021-22 Premier League Prism Soccer. Follow at Hobby Hotline on IG. We're trying to build that base up. We just started that, I don't know, about a month and a half ago. So follow at Hobby Hotline on Instagram. If you're already following us before we were running this contest, same deal. Send me a DM, and I'll enter you in for being loyal to from the start. So and same thing with the other two prizes here. We got 2 free subs from SGC Grading and a bubble mailer, or as Ziggy No calls a repack, which are a scam. So every card I put in this is from me. Every card I put in this will be counterfeit, trimmed, or fake, or dinged up. So not the best prize. We'll rank it fourth on the list of four. But guess what? You didn't pay a dime for it. So there you go.
Thank you, John. And I'm glad you kept it. I'm glad you kept
Ziggy's
that
doing
to
his
short.
own repack show in the chat room for anyone
I,
it's like trade night, happening outside the show. So knock
right,
yourselves out
right. Well,
there.
the show promoters are very sensitive about that, as we know. You never want. No, no, anyway, okay. So one of the big things that we've been talking about a lot, and Erica, please give me your thoughts. We've talked about quarterbacks always having value in football. As we're kind of midway through the season, it seems like the younger generation has a little bit more respect for wide receivers or running backs. Are you seeing, or do you feel a difference maybe than the older generation who focus much more on quarterbacks?
I do see the shift. And I've kind of predicted it. Because a lot of the younger collectors were priced out of the quarterbacks anyway. So, the wide receivers, running backs, etc., was more obtainable for them to get a nice card for a decent price. So I think that they already had those cards in their possession in their wheelhouse, but then they started to really enjoy them and enjoy the players a lot too. So I do think the trend is here to stay for the younger generation moving forward, in my opinion. But the older generation is just still quarterbacks or nothing. Me personally, I collect wide receivers, running backs. I got a TO card right here, so I appreciate other positions just as much as a quarterback. Sometimes even more.
More than Justin Fields.
Yeah.
I mean, Jalen Hurts, more than Jalen Hurts.
Oh yeah, To. Yeah. Yes.
John, what do you think?
I think Erica pretty much hit it right on the head. I think we're seeing. I think some of the old school people, they're kind of set in their ways. I guess listen, it's always going to be a quarterback driven hobby. I don't think that ever will not be the case. Quarterbacks are really the drive the hobby, drive the team for the most part. It's the sexiest position. When we watch the draft, right? What do all the analysts talk about more than any other position, right? It's quarterback. But we have seen some defensive guys get more attention. Your T.J. Watt, your Micah Parsons, including not just on the air, but we're hobby love as well with card collectors, and we're seeing wide receivers. I think running backs, I think, are sort of the odd position out because that shelf life is so small, 4 to 6 years. Yeah, every once in a while you get someone that sort of changes that. I think Derrick Henry is getting into area. McCaffrey, if he can stay healthy, will be one of those guys. Jonathan Taylor, but you can name a lot more quarterbacks than running backs. Running backs' careers are shorter for obvious reasons. And but I think you're seeing wide receivers. People like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. They're going to play 12 to 15 years. Everyone likes to compare the next generation of receiver to Jerry Rice. Is this the next Jerry Rice? I don't think there's going to be another Jerry Rice. But what we can debate is who's going to be the next best wide receiver after Jerry Rice. And I think you got a lot of guys playing right now. I just mentioned a couple: Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, that are going to be in that conversation, especially later in their careers. Hopefully, they stay healthy. Knock on wood for them. I think so. I think you're seeing the rise of wide receiver love a little bit defensively. I think running backs are kind of like the position people kind of stay away from,
Yeah,
more
I
than
can't justify Mac Jones being worth more than Justin Jefferson.
not neither can I. So
So, all right. Well, just like that, we have almost gone through. So I always like to wrap up. Looking forward, Erica, what does your sports and hobby week look like?
I possibly may be going to the show in Jersey. It's a caucus, the last show this afternoon for a few hours. And probably watch some football tomorrow and some NCAA basketball this week and reorganizing some of my cards.
Are you planning on going to the Philly show in a couple weeks?
Yes, I will be there.
Okay,
I'll
so
definitely be.
people can find you on Instagram
Yes, yes. Find me on Instagram.
and
Hopefully to see you
meet
guys at
up
the.
with you, and you'll help them in Philly
Yes,
with everything.
of course, of course. Feel,
Private
feel
tours by
free.
Erica. Yep.
Yes.
John, what is your sports and hobby week?
Well, listen, it's Thanksgiving week. First off, I want to wish everybody out there a happy Thanksgiving to family and friends. Enjoy, it's a shorter work week for most. Enjoy that time. I'm a little shameless. I'm turning 50 on Thanksgiving itself. So the big 50. There's been a few times in my life I wasn't sure I was going to make it there. I haven't even made it there yet. I shouldn't probably jinx anything talking like that, but so we'll be celebrating that for programming Monday. I'll be doing a Thanksgiving hobby quick hits, where kind of a year in a review, and I'll be giving out a lot of kudos and thank yous to other people for helping this show, Sports Card Nation hobby quick hits, and that sort of thing. And then on Friday on Sports Card Nation, my guest will be Darren Garnett, who runs Cards for the DR, and that's an organization that brings sports cards. The Dominican Republic is one of the top five poorest countries in the world. They, sometimes use milk cartons for baseball gloves, and it's gotten better. But cards wise, they don't have access to cards. So what he does is he makes sure those young kids get to enjoy the hobby like we do here in the States and abroad. And so I think it's a great guy to have on Thanksgiving week. And when that show airs, we're going to ask people to get involved and maybe donate stuff to the Dominican Republic for those young kids that want to collect cards like we do. And just don't, there's no card stores in the Dominican Republic. So for many of those kids, that's their first time they've ever seen a baseball card, is when Cards for the DR makes those deliveries. So it's a great Thanksgiving week, and just be thankful, for all the blessings we have. Acknowledge that. Tell people. Don't be, people sometimes are shy or feel funny. Like, tell people you love them. Tell people thank you for doing that for me or thinking of me. I went to the ER last week, and I had a lot of people reach out, check on me, how you doing, what happened, and that means a lot. And so I'm a thank you guy. I'll tell people probably at nauseum, like, hey, you already told me, man, we're good. But I rather be that than the other side of the coin. There's enough negative stuff going on. We've seen some in the chat room. It is what it is. Steer clear of that. it's like potholes in the road, right? You don't run into them on purpose. You try to avoid them when you can, and it's just a great hobby, and one of my Thanksgiving's one of my favorite weeks. You get to spend time with people. I hope you do what you love and care about, and so that I went long winded on that, but it was important to me to say some of that stuff. So
Very much so. And I think my sentiment would be, guys, enjoy the hobby. If you're getting that worked up over stuff, you're kind of defeating your point of loving the hobby. If you are so passionate that you're angry, you just check yourself. Um, Final words. Um, we will see you Tuesday night. Hobby Hotline returns on the Hobby Hotline channel, and next Saturday on Bench Clear, episodes 201 and 202, because this was 200. Um, John, Erica, thank you.
well, thank you, Danny. Happy Thanksgiving to both of you as well, and again, everybody out there. Enjoy the upcoming week.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Bye bye.